Hello there, friends and neighbors. Thanks for coming back to my channel. This is me, Stella Hendricks, and today we are going to read Part 4, Chapter 4 of Rhinestone Confidential by E.M. Starr, My Life Backstage in a Casino Showroom. Chapter 4, Show Change. The metal bra was way too small. The dancer who was assigned this costume had tried to mash her generous faux breasts into the rigid cone cups inspired by Madonna. She tried again, but an errant flesh squished out the sides and bottom. "I don't need this," the dancer said, tossing the bra aside. "These puppies can just be free." She was right. With an abundance of silver chains draped over her bare torso and a stunning silver disc of a hat, reminiscent of a flying saucer perched on her head, no bra was needed. "Now, hopefully I can fit my fat ass into this G." She held up a G, which was made of black stretch vinyl instead of the usual lycra. She may have been slightly bigger than the other girls. She was the mom of 2 kids and a bit older, but her behind was far from fat. However, I refrained from commenting. As a professional costumer, I would have never commented on a body part of a performer, even positively. It was one of the first things I learned in my beginning costume class. But she fit the G perfectly fine. Excess weight gain was prevented by weigh-ins every Sunday night, which some of the cast dreaded more than others. If the scale tipped too much over the higher weight, the cast member was given notice to lose the extra pounds. This dancer was also the dance captain, also called a line captain, which I learned was the head dancer, chosen to lead the dancers by maintaining the integrity of the choreography and responsible for integrating new dancers into the show. The metal bra was only one of several costumes that had been designed for a new number called the Mistinguent Fashion Show. After replacing this segment, the name of the late show would be changed to High Voltage Excess. Mistinguent, who had taken her name from the famous French entertainer who began her career in 1885, was the choreographer and costume designer for GTP. She was also Greg Thompson's girlfriend. I had been hearing a lot about Greg and Mistinguent from the crew, and I was very curious to meet them. Their names were spoken with a reverence reserved for rock stars. When I finally caught a glimpse, they did not disappoint. I pushed the last jewel into a blob of hot glue, careful not to smear the metallic fabric of the headdress helmet, when I heard loud voices in the hall. I peeked my head outside wardrobe and immediately knew this was the couple I had heard so much about. Looking like she could go on stage and perform in the show she created, the talented choreographer-designer towered in her platform heels. Her short, icy white hair was spiked high, and she was fully made up with sweeping black lashes and heavy liner for making for 2 dark flashes on her porcelain face. The effect was striking, and I couldn't stop staring at her. She looked like a goddess. Something about her reminded me of Cher. It was her mouth, I thought, and her throaty voice. She laughed at something Greg said, bending her head down towards him and gesturing with 3-inch blood-red talons, her trademark, gleaming in the bright hallway light. Standing next to her in lifted boots and a black leather jacket with oversized shoulder pads, Greg had a full head of feathery silver hair. He pointed up the stairs leading to the backstage area, indicating she should follow. I choked back a gasp when I saw the flash of her butt cheeks covered only in fishnets and a G exposed in her chaps. I knew she had just walked through the casino without a care in the world, and I could only imagine the stares from the casino guests. I ducked back into the wardrobe, ready to tackle the stack of unfinished costumes. I had been warned by Skip that if Greg did not like me, I could be let go, so I was eager to make a good impression. I worried I didn't have the skills needed to be successful for the show change. The costumes came from the GTP compound in Seattle, where a team of talented seamstresses had been sewing for months to build the costumes from drawings done by Miss Dingwent. 2 girls from the team were here at Harrah's to assist with fittings and to complete the costumes that still needed more work. Joan and I were at their disposal to help as needed, as we formed a team with unspoken rules that we would all be cooperating as one to be ready for the opening night. Everyone was working hard to get the costumes ready on time. The hours were grueling. I went from starting at 5 p.m. and working until midnight to starting at 8 a.m. and working until midnight for about 2 weeks straight. On stage, the Harrah's crew, alongside with the GTP, set lighting and sound. On stage, the Harrah's crew, along with the GTP set and lighting sound staff and the dancers and singers, were working even longer hours, rehearsing and getting the light and sound cues down. The dressing rooms and wardrobe were located under the stage, so we could hear the music coming down from the monitors. I arrived at work early one morning, desperate for caffeine. The long days were getting to me. Sign in, and then we are meeting in the dressing room for fittings, Joan said. The dancers were already there, excited to see what they would be wearing for the new number. Oversized sweatshirts and fuzzy slippers wore to soothe their feet, sore from long rehearsals, were kicked off as the assigned costumes were tried on. Each girl had a costume designed especially for her. The masochist sadist theme became apparent as shiny vinyl pieces accentuated by glinting metal strands were donned. A whip slashed through the air as the girls laughed with delight. They loved the new costumes. I marveled at the ingeniousness of the GTP wardrobe when I saw the African American girls in white vinyl and the rest in black. It made for beautiful contrast. The fashion show was set to Free Your Mind by En Vogue. The curtain opened up with a spotlight on Marva, one of the female singers. I peeked through the side curtain and watched while Marva, looking stunning in white thigh-high boots, stood on a platform and belted the opening notes. She held the mic in one hand, and the other held a handle of a leash with 3 leads. On the other end of each leash was a male dancer clad in black pleather, imitation leather, pants. The boys were shirtless, with chains and black leather straps across their chests. They crawled to the edge of the stage, smoldering with lust, and sneered while the girls in the audience went wild. A runway leading to the audience was built especially for the fashion show. I wrapped myself in the curtain and kept watching as girl after girl took her turn to strut down the runway, lights flashing off the sparkling Austrian crystals and sheen of the vinyl. At the end of the runway, each dancer would pose and then look boldly out into the audience, turn on her heel, and stalk back to the stage. Each girl had a prop to go with her outfit. One had a machine gun, fake of course. Another one, the most beautiful dancer in the cast, seen frequently on Harrah's marquees, dazzled the audience when she pounded her glittering staff authoritatively on the runway end. She gave the crowd a seductive pout as they roared with approval. Stitching on vinyl was a new experience for me. We replaced the normal needle with one that was extra sharp so the machine could cut through the layers. For the girls who weren't wearing vinyl boots, we had to sew black elastic straps onto their dance shoes. GTP used a closed-toe, pump-style flexible shoe for their dancers rather than the rigid peep-toe, low-heeled shoes worn by the showgirls in other reviews. But the shoes needed the support of the elastic strap across the top of the foot so it wouldn't fly off. I tried to sew the thick elastic strap onto the shoe quickly, but it was slow going. I positioned my thumb, which was encased in a metal thimble, against the eye of a specially designed leather needle. I used all my strength to push it through the thick elastic strap and was rewarded by seeing the needle point poking out through the outside of the shoe. I pinched it with needle nose pliers and pulled it out. If you slipped, the needle would cut your finger like a knife. But blood on a costume was supposed to mean good luck, according to an old wives' tale. The heavy use of hot glue guns and Velcro was new to me, as we'd never used these items when building costumes in college. I was learning new tricks on as these costumes were put through vigorous use. Dancing puts more stress on them than merely acting. For quick changes, the men's shirts needed Velcro squares placed over the buttonholes and the coordinating Velcro sewn under the buttons so the shirt would appear normal, but could be ripped off to change quickly into the next costume. There was no time for conventional closures. We even wrapped Velcro around the necklaces in place of a clasp. Elastic was sewn to the bottom of men's shirts from the back to keep the shirts from riding out of their waistband while dancing. Just when I thought things were going pretty smoothly, one of the dancers approached the GTP wardrobe girl, Melanie, after the show. "Can my skirt be shortened?" she asked. "It's way too long." She tried it on and it hit her just at her upper thigh. "See, it needs to be about here," she said, indicating with her hand to just below her crotch. "Of course, I can fix that for you tonight with a French hem," Melanie said. "That would be great, thank you so much." What the heck is a French hem, I thought, as I searched my mind for a sewing term that I must have missed somewhere. I knew what a blind hem was, but I'd never heard of a French hem. It sounded complicated. Not wanting to show my ignorance, I kept my mouth shut, but she must have noticed my look of bewilderment. "Oh," Melanie laughed. "It's what we tell them we're going to do to fix the problem, but actually we do nothing. They think we fixed it, though. It's the power of suggestion. Her skirt is perfect. It's the same length as the rest of the girls." Whew, I was saved. I was gonna make it through initiation of show just fine. Show change just fine. Whoops. That reminds me of when I was a stripper back in my glorious stripper days. And when I had had enough alcohol, but people were still like drinking or whatever, and someone would offer to buy me something, I would get a tequila or a vodka, and I would get it men's club style, which we told the customers meant that it came with an orange on the side instead of a lime or a lemon or whatever. But what it actually meant was that it was a glass of water with an orange on the side, and we would just shoot it and pretend like we were still drinking with everyone, because we're so clever. All right, well, that is it for this time. That was chapter 4 of Rhinestone Confidential by my very good friend Elaine. It's a wonderful book. It's super fun. I'm really enjoying it. So until next time, friends and neighbors, don't do anything I wouldn't do.